College is an exciting time to learn and to make friends that will last a lifetime. Many students do not like to worry about money and would rather not think about it. However, it doesn't matter whether a student parents pay for everything, or whether the student works part-time to help pay for his or her education. All the students can get into money trouble if they're not careful. The cost of a college education can be high. In English-speaking countries, the average cost per student per year can be well over 15,000 United States dollars. Students must also pay for books, papers, pens, etc. This can cost $500 to $1,000 per year. Students must also pay thousands more per year for room and board. Add money for clothes, travel and other personal expenses, and the average cost of the year at university can be $20,000 to $30,000 or more. So students need to spend their money carefully. At most universities, counselors can give students advice on how to budget their money. This is what they suggest. At the start of a school semester, write down your income. For example, money you will get from your family or from a part-time job. Then, list all your expenses into two groups. Those that change: food, phone, books, travel, and those that will stay the same: tuition, room and board. Add together all of your expenses. Are they more than your income? Will you need to borrow from family or friends, or will you need to get more money by doing part-time work? Often students find it is easier to plan out their own budget and save their own money, rather than trying to borrow from others. As you can see, there's more to learn at college than just what's taught in the classroom. My weekends are busy and exciting. My weekends at home are busy, too. I have two sons, Dylan, 7, and Dakota, 5. Every morning I get up 1 hour before them, at 6 o'clock, and I go to the gym. I come home and I made breakfast. Then I take them to school. On Mondays I always go shopping. I buy all the food for the week. I often cook dinner in the evenings, but not every day because I don't like cooking. Fortunately, my husband, Don, loves cooking. On Tuesday and Thursday I visit my father. He lives on the next block. Every afternoon I pick up the kids from school. In the evenings Don and I usually relax. But sometimes we visit friends. We never go out on Friday evenings because I start work so early on Saturdays. Many people made this book. Do you know how we make books? An author writes the words, and an editor checks the words. Other people draw pictures or take photos for the book. Designers use a computer to put the words, photos and pictures into pages. In factories, printing machines print the pages on paper. They print 16 pages on one big piece of paper. Then other machines cut the paper into pages. People used machines to fix the pages of this book together. Sometimes people sew the pages together, then they fix them to the cover with glue. We make clothes from lot of different materials like wool and cotton. To make jeans, people used cotton fabric. They cut the fabric into different shapes from pieces of the jeans, like the legs and pockets. They use a sewing machine to sew these pieces together. Then they sew buttons and zipper on the front of the jeans. People use wool to make clothes like hats or sweaters. At home some people use wool and knitting needles to knit clothes. They knit different pieces of the clothes, like the arms, the front and the back. Then they sew the pieces together. In factories people use knitting machine to knit clothes. Where could humans go if we had to leave Earth? Our solar system is huge. We don't know that much about it. There's no other place besides Earth that can naturally sustain human life. Living things on Earth need air, water, food, shelter, light and nutrients to survive. We also need other conditions, like appropriate temperatures. The Earth is surrounded by a layer of gases called the atmosphere. It's essential to life on Earth. It provides many things we need to live. One example is the air we breathe. There is another place in our solar system where some of these things exist. It's a moon of the planet Jupiter, called Europe. Its conditions could be suitable for humans. Europa's atmosphere is made up of mostly oxygen. Scientists also believe Europe's surface has water. Of course, it's not perfect. The highest temperature on Europe is -160 degrees Celsius. No human can survive that. There are other problems, too. But a space colony may allow us to survive there. Scientists are studying Europe. They want to find out if there's life there. They want to learn if human can survive there. We make a lot of products from plastic, like bottles and toys. To make a plastic product, machines put hot plastic in a mold. Then the plastic is the same shape as the mold. To make some products like bottles, machines also blow air into the molds. To make a new plastic product like a toy, people draw it and then make a model of it. In factory, people use the model to make a mold for each part of the toy. Machines put hot plastic in the molds to make plastic parts. People or machines fix the parts together, and they paint the toys. Then the toys go to stores. About 200 years ago, there weren't many factories or machines, and people made many products by hand. Today, some people still make products by hand. They use tools to make products like chairs, clocks, jewelry, and musical instruments. It takes years to learn how to make these things. People make guitars from wood. They cut thin pieces of wood to make the front and back of the guitar. To make the sides, they put long thin pieces of wood in water. Then they use hot tools to make the wood the right shape for sides. They fix these pieces together with glue. Later they make the neck of the guitar. They put the strings on it. One of the first things I noticed in Valencia is that people eat out a lot. They spend a lot of time to cafes. You find people having breakfast or tea, not just lunch and dinner. People who work go out to have coffee. They don't have it in their office. Another thing I noticed, I find the human here talk very fast and very loudly, much more than the men. Women dress very well, especially older women, and they always look immaculate. Finally, there's a myth that the Spanish don't work hard, but I don't think it's true. It's just that they work different hours. People have a long lunch break, but they leave work very late. My first impressions of Alexander was that he was much older than me. In fact, he was 32, but I thought he was older. But when we started talking, I really liked him. He was extroverted and funny, and he had a very good sense of humor. He works for a TV station, and he told me a lot of good stories about his work. He was also interested in the same thing as me, art and music, and we talk a lot about that. Physically, he wasn't really my type. It's hard to say why. He was tall and dark and very good looking, and he had a nice smile, but there just wasn't any chemistry between us. When I saw Oliver, I thought they looked warm and friendly, and more attractive than Alexander. He was tall with short blonde hair, and he has amazing eyes, kind of like the actor Ryan Gosling. He was kind of shy and quiet at first, but when we started talking he relaxed, and we found we had a lot of things in common. We both like books and movies. He was generous, too. He wanted to pay for everything. I really enjoyed the evening. When it was time to go, he asked for my phone number and said he wanted to meet again. We walked out of the restaurant and went to look for a taxi. And then something happened, and I knew that it was impossible for me to go out with him, he said, finally, and took out a pack of cigarettes. What do I like about my job? Well, I like the people I work with. They're good fun, and the holidays. Yes, I get a lot of time off. This year I will got 2 weeks at Christmas and 3 weeks in the summer, so I can go snowboarding in the winter and somewhere hot in the summer. Fantastic. The most important thing for me is my children. I am a secretary and I enjoy that, but I don't work full time because I like spending time with them. They're only little. Hannah's 4 and Jamie's 6, so they need me. Anyway, it's what I want to do. I don't want to work full time at the moment. I work for a large department store. I sell women's cloth and shoes. It's a good job because I like the other people who work here. And the hours are good. Of course, I have to be polite to customers. I don't like living here. This is a horrible area. The streets are dirty and it's quite dangerous, as well. I want to get a dog and the town is not a good place for a dog. It's okay for a cat or a small animal, but dogs need somewhere to run about, I think. Today, water covers about 70% of our planet. Billions of years ago, Earth's surface was dry and nothing lived here. Earth's atmosphere was also different. It has a lot of carbon dioxide and other gases, but no oxygen. At first, there wasn't any liquid water on Earth's surface, but there was lots of water vapor in the atmosphere. This water vapor came from inside the planet when volcanoes erupted. When Earth cooled down, the water vapor condensed and formed clouds in the sky. Then it started to rain. After millions of years, liquid water covered most of our planet's surface. Today, the water in our oceans and seas is about 3.5% salt. Do you know why? When rain falls on land, some of it goes into lakes and rivers, then into oceans. As the water goes into the ocean, it carries this salt with it. After many billions of years, this has made our oceans salty. Some lakes can be very salty, like Lake Assal, in Djibouti in Africa. In this lake, the water is more than 35% salt, and no plants or animals can live there. The salt water comes from underground hot springs. When the hot water evaporates into the air, it leaves the salt in the lake. Teenagers today have a bad reputation. People say that they are lazy and messy and that they do very little to help their parents around the house. But there are some teenagers for whom this description is just not true at all. It is estimated that there are more than 1.4 million teenagers in the US who have to look after a member of their family, their mother or father or brother or sister. In many cases, these young helpers, or caregiver as they are called, are doing things like feeding, washing, and taking care of family members, as well as doing their schoolwork.